Okay, I finally got to see No Time to Die, which, if you don't know, is Daniel Craig's final outing as Bond. Needless to say, I was very excited for this movie when it was supposed to originally come out. It got the shit delayed out of it, finally came out this past October, and I finally got to check it out on the Cineplex store. Now, since this video is so late compared to when the movie actually came out, it's really just going to be my thoughts more so than an actual review, which I guess is peculiar because my review videos are my thoughts. Let's not pick at that too much. Okay? And fair warning, I will be talking about spoilers here because I can't not talk about them because they absolutely play into my overall thoughts on this movie. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out before watching this video. With that out of the way, let's dive right in. So I really like Daniel Craig's take on James Bond, and I've enjoyed all of the 4 previous films that came before. Now, don't get me wrong, I will always be a Pierce Brosnan fan, first and foremost. But now that we have all of them, the 5 films that Daniel Craig has done are all great. Sure, they have their ups and downs, but most movies in series do. Here's what I really enjoyed about No Time to Die. It's amazing. This movie was beautifully shot, expertly choreographed, superbly acted, and has incredible special effects with an iconic soundtrack and a story that is actually down to earth, unlike someone else's final outing. There are at least a dozen scenes in this movie that just put a shit-eating grin on my face and made me sit up with a new jolt of adrenaline. It was a very refreshing take from a new director on most levels, yet it still held its ties with the previous films very well. Like, there's this scene in the movie, the scene where Bond meets this girl who works for Felix, so I guess she's an FBI agent, and they have to go on this little mini mission together to figure something out. That scene was incredible. The way Bond and her worked together and so seamlessly and immediately, the chemistry between the actors in the scene was hands down the best of the movie. And that chemistry was so adorable, yet completely kick-ass. Her performance could not have been better. And then she was just gone. Yep, that's it. One scene. Personally, I thought that was great. A way to have a new iconic Bond girl, because yeah, she's iconic from being in one scene, that is completely capable of holding her own, but does not have to stick around for the entire length of the movie. I don't know, it felt very unique, because in most James Bond movies, you've usually got a good Bond girl and a bad Bond girl. There's women all over the screen in this movie, which is great, but in this case, this was a fresh way of seeing it. Like, here is one scene. You could remove this scene from the movie and just watch it as a short film. And I guarantee you, that's what I'm going to do when I buy this on DVD. Not Blu-ray, because I live in a van. DVD. I don't know, it was just something fresh that I don't feel like I've ever seen in a Bond movie before, and it was expertly done. The new director, who I'm not even going to try to attempt to remember the name of right now, also directed a bunch of True Detective episodes. I actually think he directed every single episode from the first season of True Detective. He was completely spot on, and I was just waiting for that long shot that I knew was coming. And once it arrived in the climax, perfect place for it to be, with Bond making his way through the facility and fighting guys on the stairwell, so worth it and so well done. I thought it was a perfect way for this director to sort of stamp his trademark style onto the James Bond franchise, and it lasted just long enough to be engaging and enjoyable without becoming tedious. All in all, it was a great movie and a great James Bond movie. There's a whole bunch of throwbacks from songs that they use in the closing credits to the way stuff is shot. It really was a great way to sort of cap Daniel Craig's performance as this iconic character. Now, I could go on and on about what I liked about this movie, but I think you get the picture. I'm a fan, and I did enjoy it. But what I really want to talk about, really need to get off my chest, and it doesn't ruin the movie. Obviously, I still hold this movie in fairly high regard, but this can't be ignored. Before we get to that, and before we start really picking certain things apart, just know that I do give No Time to Die a 9 out of 10. And the only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because of this. Okay, so there are 2 major things that really bugged me in this movie. One I noticed right away and actually kind of was aware of before I even saw the movie. The other was something that sort of crept its way up into the back of my mind as the days passed after I saw the movie. And that was why, one last time, spoiler warning, why James Bond dies. Look, I'm fine with them killing him. It's a contained story within these 5 films, and worst case scenario, they just gotta reboot the character. I guess it's not worst case scenario, because that's their only option now. Was I shocked when it happened? Yeah, because they blew him away with missiles. Just decimate him. But okay, I guess James Bond has to go out in some sort of grandiose fashion. That does make sense for the character. It's fine for the sake of argument. But he died because he couldn't be with the woman that he was in love with? Come on! He's James Bond. Hang on, I'm blowing my mic out. It's James Bond. Look, I get that Vesper messed him up back in Casino Royale. Don't even get me started on the nonsense that was that being tied into the beginning of this movie. But why did they have to make him fall in love so madly again and then have a kid with this woman? We have to make him relatable to the audience? Why? It's James Bond. He's an international super spy that drinks martinis, drives fast cars, kills people, and guess what? Sleeps around. It's escapism. Don't bring your relatable BS into movies like these, and especially not with this character. The last thing that I wanted was for James Bond to be so distraught and heartbroken over the fact that he can't be with the woman that he loves that he just lets a missile strike wipe him off the face of the earth. That's bad enough, but on the flip side, really responsible, James. Now your kid gets to grow up without a father. Sure, you might not have been able to touch her, but you still could have been a support system. Well done, you douchebag. There is just so much wrong with the ending of this movie on so many levels. Fine, kill the character, but make him die for Queen and country. What happened during the writing phase? Yikes. Okay, I'm not going to go on about it anymore because I feel like I'm going to give myself an embolism. But look, as horrible of a wrap-up as that ending was, the rest of the movie was still spectacular. And I will be purchasing it on DVD for my very tiny van collection. I probably just will turn it off before the ending like Phoebe's mom did with Old Yeller. I ranked the other movies of the Daniel Craig James Bond films a long time ago, and my ranking from my favorite to my least was Casino Royale, Skyfall, Spectre, and Quantum of Solace. Now that we have it, No Time to Die gets to go smack into the middle, and that is my new ranking of the Daniel Craig James Bond films. It is nice that in the end, all of those issues that I have with the ending are resolved now because he's dead, and they have told one complete story over 5 films from start to finish. That's not anything the James Bond movies have done before. So since we're doing crazy things, can we just bring Pierce Brosnan back for like one more outing as the British spy? Come on, how cool would that be? I'm just saying. Oh, and the second thing that bugged me, to quote Ryan Reynolds from Red Notice, when it comes to Billie Eilish's opening theme song, piss off for 1,000 years. Here is my review of that opening song for a James Bond movie. There are like a dozen scenes in this movie that just put a shit-eating grin across my face and made me sit up with a new jolt of adrenaline fueled in